Hello, everyone. This is Randy Malden with Jack Quinn Solutions. Going to talk tonight about how to transform your career when you become a certified professional in supply management. Now, specifically, we're talking to those that are in the Army because they have a credentialing assistance program that helps fund their training. So it helps them get the certification they need. It helps them when they're in the service. We're going to talk about that. And it also helps them when they transition out of the service, which is a big benefit that we need to look at because it translates our skills into something civilians understand. So that's why we want to make sure that we have a certification like CPSM, Certified Professional Supply Management, offered by Institute for Supply Management, so you can translate your skills into something that people understand. And we'll talk about that during this presentation. Okay, so it is the top of the hour. You never want to punish the punctual. You want to keep moving and make sure that we use everyone's time as best as possible. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and get started with the presentation and transforming your career to become certified supply management. Now, what is credentialing? Credentialing is when we understand we're meeting a specific need or a specific standard set by an institution or a higher level of learning, an organization that's basically said, this is the standard we need to meet to be a professional in this area. Think of an accountant or an attorney or an engineer. They all have to go through tests to help certify what they know. And the same thing in supply management. We have the CPSM, which is 3 exams, and it really demonstrates that you understand everything in supply management, from raw materials all the way to customer service, delivering everything that they need to have a good supply chain. And we all have a supply chain. We have a supply chain in our homes. We have a supply chain at work. And it's really just going out and finding what you need, bringing it where it needs to go, and making sure that you have what you need. Okay, so that's what we have when we have a credential. And why credential matters. It advances your career. It transitions you into the civilian workforce. It helps get you there so they understand what you're doing. You have a lot of experience. You know what you're doing. You've done everything that's in the certification. You just need to understand the terms that they use in the civilian world and translate that into the military, or from the military jargon into the civilian world. And it basically tells them that you have credibility in your career field. Okay, it basically says you've been in the Army for 4, if you're coming out of your first enlistment, 10, 20, 30 years. And if you come right into their job and say, I want to be a supply chain manager in procurement, purchasing, sourcing, vendor management, contract management, any of those things, they're going to look at you and say, well, you have no experience. You've been in the Army for too long. We don't know how you can help us. But I have a CPSM, Certified Professional Supply Management. Oh, I understand that. And that's why credentialing matters. So Certified Professional Supply Management tells them that you've met the standards set by the Institute for Supply Management, which is a globally recognized organization in supply management. Why should you pursue supply management? Because it's important. Leading companies like Walmart and Toyota focus on supply management. Companies who manage their supply chain are 73% more profitable than companies that do not. And whenever you invest in supply chain management, you get a 40% ROI. So you as an individual investing into this training, you are going to get a 40% ROI. And we'll talk about that a little bit later, because it's been proven that those with the CPSM or any certification get a higher salary than those with not. Not because you have the certification, because you bring more value to the table. You bring more value to the table. The supply management certification transforms your career into a strategic advantage for a company. So you're no longer what they call a paperwork pusher. Okay, you can think and plan and be able to help a company stay ahead of the different things that are going on in the economy. Those that manage your supply chain really well during the pandemic, made a huge difference because they understood supply chain. They knew what they were able to do. What is supply chain management? It's the right stuff in the right place, the right time, the right quantity, and the right quality. It's basically putting the stuff where it needs to go when it needs to be there. Okay, everyone has a supply chain management, but it's not just a bunch of paperwork. There's a lot more to supply chain than most people think. Supply chain is the greatest source of stress in any organization because it not only affects delivery, your ability to do things, but in the private industry, it affects profitability. Procurement equals profit. In other words, we have revenue, sales, generating revenue, pushing money into an organization, and then you have expenses. The difference between revenue and expenses equals profit. Supply chain managers, those in supply chain career field, procurement, purchasing, buyers, sourcing managers, vendors, contract management, they are on the expense side. So they can keep those expenses down, which helps the company be more profitable. And even Elon Musk knows that the supply chain stuff is tricky. It's not something to be taken for granted, not something to be taken for granted for anybody. And CEOs, 15% of CEOs surveyed believed they could survive a supply chain disruption. Think about that. 15% of CEOs believed they could survive a supply chain disruption, which means 85% of the other folks surveyed didn't think they could survive a supply chain disruption. 17% of those same CEOs thought their supply chains were optimized, which means they were getting the most profit for their dollar, the best bang for their buck. Taking that the other way, 83% didn't think so. Okay, so supply chain is very important. Going way back in time, Sun Tzu, the line between disorder and order lies in logistics. Even Napoleon understood that amateurs discuss tactics, professionals discuss logistics. And it's not just software. You'll see a lot of information out there about all the different systems out there, the managed supply chain, big data, and all this analysis. But at the end of the day, it takes a person to look at the information and take action on that information. As I mentioned before, procurement equals profit. And it's mastering the fundamentals and getting that certification speaks to your experience in this area. So if you know how to do supply chain management and you prove it with the CPSM, when you go to apply for a job, it will help them understand what you can do. You've already met a standard established by a higher authority. When I was speaking with one of our folks that was in the Army, he was going to a job fair and he shared with me that he went to a recruiter and the recruiter told him, he's like, you know, you're going for your master's degree. That's nice. But the CPSM, that's almost equivalent to a master's degree for me. Okay. So the recruiters, the ones that are looking for people to hire people, they see the CPSM is very important because it validates specific skills. A bachelor's degree, a master's degree, a doctorate degree, and I've got all of them. Okay. Doesn't speak to specific skills and being able to get the job done. But when you say CPSM, it says I'm an expert in supply management. Military professionals have a unique experience that add value to the supply chain function. You're expert planners. Everyone is an expert planner in the military, from the private all the way up to the general. Everyone has to plan their specific part of that operation. A private has to take care of themselves, right? They got their own supply chain. I got to make sure I got food, bullets, band-aids, all that other stuff. And then as you move up the ranks to squad leader, platoon commander, company commander, all the way up, and even on the enlisted side, this is also very important. We're all planning our supply chain, and we are expert planners. We're mission driven with focused flexibility, meaning as the mission stays the same, but as conditions change, we can shift and we can move and we can get to where we need to go to accomplish the mission because we provide leadership. And that's something that's lacking in the civilian career force right now is leadership. Someone who can understand all the chaos, focus on what's important, and drive in to getting the job done. But civilians just don't understand us. They don't understand how the military experience applies to the civilian world because there's less people have served. Okay, less people understand military service, and businesses fail to translate that experience into business value. My own experience, I can tell you, when I came out of the service and I was transitioning in a similar time of recession, I was transitioning 2010, so we were on the recovery recession, and I come into a job and they're like, "What can you do?" Well, I understand I'm logistics supply chain. I can do anything, but they didn't see my value. I wasn't able to translate it appropriately. So not only do you get the CPSM certification, but through our program, we also help you translate your skills into something that they would understand. What other benefits do you get? You get promotional points with your credentials. You want to visit the Cool Army Cool for more information about how that affects you. And the benefits to the military are it develops a more diverse, skilled workforce. It broadens professional development, validates your professional knowledge, and demonstrates skills gained through education and experience and training. And in the supply chain logistics function, we work a lot with contractors and civilians. And so being able to speak their language is going to be helpful in your military career. Plus, it benefits you on the outside when you're transitioning out of the civilian, out of the military into the civilian world. You're better able to say, this is what I can do, and I can prove it because I have a certification. It's beneficial. Now, who qualifies for credential assistance? Any soldier in the Army, active, reserve, or National Guard, you have credentialing system, which means you have money available to support you to get through this training. How do you get credential assistance? You want to go to this website or this link. I'm going to go ahead and put it in the chat. And it gives you very specifically what the process is, to get credentialing assistance. I'm going to put this in the chat. Okay. And click that link and take a look at that. And it goes through in detail. And it tells you what you need to do to get credentialing system. It explains it, and what I'll do is summarize it in about 4 steps. 4 steps. Okay. It's a 4-step process. The first thing is to select the credential you need. CPSM may be one of those you like because you're in the career field, supply chain management career field, logistics, supply, maintenance. There's a lot of career fields that can benefit from supply chain management certification. So once you go through that process, then you would go through and you would select your specific credential. And then you go through the CA request process. That presentation that I shared with you, I'll go ahead and share my screen here in a second, kind of walk through a little bit more detail. It tells you exactly how to go through the process. Create your account, find the credential, apply. And when you apply, you actually need a quote from us. We have to give you a specific quote with your name on it that talks about what you, that gives you the amounts that they can approve for funding. And our program is completely under the $4,000. You get $4,000 a year to get credentials, and our entire program includes 3 different training programs, is under that $4,000. We worked with ISM. They brought that price down for us, so you can get everything you need within 1 year. And then the next year, you get another $4,000. So you can then pursue another credential. And you can do that every year. You get $4,000 every year. And this is not your tuition assistance, your VA benefits. Okay, this is over and above tuition assistance. So if you're pursuing a bachelor's degree or a master's degree, this is an addition to, not instead of. Okay, and same thing with your VA benefits. You don't want to use your VA benefits when you want to use that for a degree, for a credential, because the Army's willing to pay for your credential. And how you get an invoice, go to CPSM training, go specifically to our Army Ignited program information, and there's a form in there. You just fill that out, let us know, and we would send you a quote within 24 hours. Or just send me a direct email, randy18@jqsllc.net. My information is in the Army Ignited system. So if you have any questions, just shoot me an email. I'll be happy to help. Okay. Once you get approved, you go through the training, you take the exam, and then you report your results, and we do that for you on our side, so you get the results and you're all taken care of. Again, the process is very specific. Let me go ahead and share that with you right now. Let's share my screen. Right here. Okay. Here's the presentation for this link. I'm not going to go through it because, as you can see, 81 slides, and your time is valuable. We want to make sure we get you in and out of here so you get on with your weekend coming up here starting tomorrow. Okay. So it just goes through this first part, kind of explains the cool process, how to go into the system and find the credentials you need for your career. And then later on down a little bit more, it'll actually give you the credential assistance. It tells you how to apply for that right about here. Okay. One thing you have to keep in mind, 45 days, no less than 45 days from submitting your application before they'll approve your funding. Okay. So if you want to get started in February, you need to go ahead and put in your request now. Let us get you a quote, get that application in so you can then get it where it needs to go. And then you'll be starting here mid-February, March, and then you can move through the credentialing process. All right. Okay, and then this goes on and explains all that. I don't want to go through all of it in detail. You can read this on your own, and they have very good resources on the cool website to help you do what you need to do. Okay, right there. Okay. So for those that are interested in CPSM training, please let me know. Shoot me an email. Any questions that you might have, we'll be glad to help you get what you need to be successful. Again, this is a very valuable certification that will help you not only in the military, but when you transition out to get a job. What does it look like when you get involved in our training? Let me share our screen there. Show you some more information about our actual program. So once you're involved in the program, you get the certification bundle, which includes 4 different courses, the boot camp, the virtual boot camp, which is a very focused process on the things you need to know to pass a certification. And then you have these others, which is more detailed information about the specific tasks throughout the different organizations. What do you get? Take a look at that here. You get lots of information, supply management core, which is exam 1, then you move on to exam 2, and then you move on to exam 3. Okay, and then once you've taken your diagnostic tests, then you can go in and you can dig into the specific task-specific courses, which gives you even more information here. But all of this is right here, supply chain management training. You can take a look at that. I'll put this in the chat as well. You can take a look at that at your leisure. You look at the program, get into the details, and ask lots of questions. What we want most important is to make sure that this is the right credential for you. Okay. Make sure this is the right credential for you so that you can get what you need. Okay. Does anyone have any questions about some of the things that I've asked today? The way to ask questions, you got question bar as well as the chat. Feel free to ask me any questions, or after this webinar, just shoot me an email or connect with me on LinkedIn, Randall Malden, Dr. Randall Malden. You can find me there. Be happy to answer any questions, help you get a quote, get your application started so you can get involved in the credential. Okay. This is a short and sweet presentation. I know you guys are busy, so I don't want to waste your time at all. I'll give you enough information to where you can go out and explore more, find more information. If the CPSM is a good credential for you, please let me know. We'll get you a quote, get you started. But there's a lot of other certifications out there. Understand your career goals and help you find where you need to go. Okay, with that, have a wonderful evening. Enjoy your weekend, and we will talk with you soon.